Hello and welcome to IT Team Tooling by Shayan Qureshi. From my experience, IT teams need tools to empower their productivity. I want to discuss their necessity. What I intend to frame within this presentation is a manufacturer agnostic look at the importance of holistic IT tooling, the generic types of tools available, their most basic use case, and how they work to justify their costs. I will then briefly go over one competent use case. And it is important to note that in 2021, multiple vendors have answers to these problems, some with separate individual elements, and others with one encompassing solution covering features or subsets of features they deem necessary for their intended use case. Lastly, we will have a brief look at AI in tooling. Let's go. Let's start with the importance of holistic IT tooling. All businesses are uniquely built, and as such will inevitably have their own unique sets of systems which require their own set of monitoring and support needs. Generally, the team would have a service desk tool, an RMM, some sort of network monitoring, where the service desk gives us ticket routing, our customer interfaces, our workflow rules. The RMM gives us additional control over the antivirus and any endpoint detection and response features, OS and third-party patches, monitoring intelligence, automation and scripting, and local policy control. And the network monitoring gives us additional features such as automated backup and configuration control over firewalls, switches, routers, and other network peripherals. We would wrap all this round with dashboards, either individually per solution or through a centralized collector. And I have included hosted telephony and contact center here, but these would very likely be separate, and then the documentation platform, which will bring it all under one roof. Let's dive a little deeper into our service desk tool, our PSA or ITSM platform. Depending on how you run your asset management, the ITSM platform is usually your most important source of truth. It is where your engineers log their productivity against assets to keep auditable track throughout their lifecycle. It is also where a large amount of service automation takes place through workflow rules to enable ticket routing to help get the tickets to the right teams, trigger alerts to help maintain SLAs and performance targets, interface with users to encourage structured communication and knowledge sharing, request feedback to empower CSAT and fuel agile improvement. When it comes to reporting, this is where you extract historical performance and utilization information about your team. We will also get at least one dashboard showing service desk health from here. As this is your IT asset lifecycle management, it is invaluable. Every business must look to have some form of this for their IT function. Without it, the business loses IT business intelligence, auditable experience, and knowledge capture, increasing the risk of dependence on individuals and increasing length of downtime should there be a problem. Most businesses have unique solutions to achieve the same objectives, so I will refer to any set or subset of tools which enable your IT team to manage endpoints as the RMM. These are of specific importance when your end-user computing and server estate is vast or global. Using the RMM, an effective IT team will schedule OS and third-party patching, set and monitor local policy assignments, ensure AVs installed, updated, and regularly scanning, utilize its search, audit, and reporting capabilities to empower decision-making. This is where the team can build out its own automation scripts and utilize the RMM to deploy, validate, and report on actions. These directly enable scaled end-user computing and infrastructure management. This is where the team will extract compliance information about the environments they support. The data being captured will directly contribute to growth and utilization planning conversations. Data from the RMM will power dashboards for your NOC and monitoring teams. When set up for success, the amount of automated work which could be achieved will enable lean IT teams to maintain service excellence through growth. Moving on to network monitoring, a point to note is that your network monitoring solution may be part of your RMM, but it will likely need to be addressed separately and probably by another network-leaning team member. At the most basic, you will use this to review periodic uptime and collect basic SNMP information to be able to report. For example, a printer is running out of toner. At the more complete end, it will empower your teams with automated config backup and restore for switches, routers, and firewalls, network traffic monitoring, so that's your NetFlow, SFlow, and JFlow, alert on causes of bad traffic and changes to network state, For example, someone's plugged in a new device. In terms of reporting, when working, this can provide powerful insight to enable IT teams to be proactive in their response to network misuse and empower them with business justification for upgrades or changes to mitigate risks to productivity. The same tool will usually enable you to generate accurate response-based network diagrams, which help customers or management visualize their networks as well as impactful visual dashboards. For cost justifications, in the most basic sense, when operating business critical applications with high uptime requirements from the production teams, this is when the solution will pay for itself. Remember, the most basic of this could be part of your RMM package. The documentation platform, which sometimes has password management and shared knowledge base built in, this is what helps bring it all together in one referenceable place. The best examples will enable you to create logical links between disparate sets of captured information, such as secured password linked to a printer asset. It will allow you to create your own documentation templates, have a powerful search, enable runbooks or checklists to help streamline training and help maintain quality through effective information sharing. In terms of reporting, this is not really designed for reporting, but it's a great source of getting a snapshot of the documentation which you have within your team. As all relevant information should be in sync to your documentation platform, backup of this source becomes quite powerful. For cost justification, the password management element of this would usually pay for itself, but if you have an IT team of around 5 or more, then this will pay for itself immediately, just from the efficiency of information sharing. From experience, pushing a culture of documentation within the IT team is one of the most valuable things the entire business can benefit from due to those inherent benefits. And now let's go through an example I have put together to show some of these tools working in automation glory. In this example, a user has been asked to complete a non-standard activity for their job role and has been informed that their workstation needs to have a specific productivity application installed. As they work remotely, they have been correctly advised to log a ticket on the IT portal as a step 1. Let us begin. First, the user will go through single sign-on or multi-factor authentication to log onto the secured user portal. Once logged in, they immediately have access to a limited knowledge base covering IT topics they are most likely to encounter, a ticket referencing system, allowing them to review progress on open tickets as well as old ones. They have a feature to log new tickets. Once they navigate into the ticket management system to log new tickets, they are guided to select a ticket category, then a specific issue type. Lucky for this user, there is something specific to the application they need installed. They are then given the option to add notes onto the ticket to better inform the IT team. They click Submit. The platform can use this collection of inputs to assign the ticket a subject, type, and a subtype. This can then be targeted to route the ticket through to the appropriate service board and assigned to an appropriate team member. A notification is sent in parallel to the user acknowledging their input and providing an auditable ticket reference number. As part of the user onboarding, the user would have been attached onto the configuration object within the platform. The platform can then target this to attach the user configuration to the ticket automatically. The ticket is now properly logged for an engineer to review. On review, the engineer identifies an automation script already in existence to resolve this issue. They take their scheduled 5 minutes to review any special instructions from the user to address before scheduling. In parallel, a notification email is sent to the user informing them that this work is being investigated. We will note here that this is the first time in the life of this ticket that an IT team member has spent time. The automation is triggered by the engineer. It is sent through as a request from the ITSM PSA to the RMM. The RMM processes this request and executes as programmed. In this example, there's a schedule element based on an acceptable criteria. For example, this device must be switched on for over 2 hours before it will trigger, and this would be because you want to prevent the user going into a meeting straight away and having this work done. Once the acceptable criteria has been reached on the device, the script is triggered by the RMM. A notification email is shared with the user at the time of the script running so that they are aware of the works impacting their productivity. And then the verification process can proceed. If successful, then the ticket is automatically updated with the success confirmation and the ticket is marked as completed, triggering multiple notifications to the user to prompt them to test and leave feedback. If for whatever reason the script fails, then the failure notification is attached onto the ticket and the ticket priority is increased and manual engineer intervention is scheduled. Once the work is completed, the engineer marks the ticket as completed, triggering the email confirmations and requests for feedback. Now let's dive a little deeper. The RMM will regularly audit the workstation. A rule exists which assigns this workstation to a group. This group has automated processes attached which enable self-help taskbar icons for this application. A ticket is automatically created and an email sent to the user with a clear how-to. Should the user respond, the ticket is marked for review and resolution. From this example, the focus behind this automation is efficiency in engineer utilization, empowering users, and to help maintain compliance. Removing inconsistencies and manual processes free up engineer time, which could then be invested elsewhere. I hope this example helps demonstrate the opportunity for scale whilst maintaining a lean IT team. As promised, we're going to take a quick look at AI within these platforms, but I'm not going to go into too much detail, mainly because most solutions can claim to have an element of AI. Today, there's a vast scope for industry-specific tools with properly geared AI. AI-powered tools rely on tailoring to extract the maximum benefit from them. The AI approach helps to focus IT teams' efforts, some examples working to predict failure before it impacts production. And the goal remains the same: to help empower lean IT teams. Thank you for taking the time to make it to the end of this presentation. I hope this helps. This has been Shayan Qureshi, thanking you once more. Goodbye.